Today we're going to talk about a boring, unpopular, yet critical function, Microsoft patching. We are covering the top 3 issues organizations face to deliver effective Microsoft patching. First of all, keeping track of all the devices and applications that need to be patched, especially when remote work and BYOD policies increasing the complexity and diversity of the IT environment. Secondly, you need to balance the trade-off between the security of deploying patches quickly and the stability of not deploying patches that create problems, as applying them too early can introduce bugs or compatibility issues, while delaying patches can expose the business to cyber attacks and compliance risks. And finally, achieving patching compliance and a high degree of efficacy takes extensive manual effort for typical small IT teams, taking them away from other important tasks that they could be working on. So, all right, Jeff, let's get into the core content. The first issue that we see, and sometimes the one that's most overlooked, is you can't patch what you don't know exists. So take us through how we help organizations figure that out.
Well, the philosophy that we're going to look at first is around a local domain environment, but we know that Azure Active Directory, or whatever Microsoft is calling it these days, Azure Active Directory is starting to replace local domain environments. In either case, what we're looking at is a local domain environment where you do some pre-staging first, where you set some DNS scavenging to clean things up in the background, and a GPO that we create so that you can poke a hole through any of the local firewalls. And then we create these discovery jobs that you see in this example, where you create a discovery job for every LAN where a workstation, server, or laptop is located. The discovery jobs go out and look for those, basically do a network scan. It pings everything available, does a WMI query and says, hey, I'm a workstation, and it automatically installs the agents, which then gives you a list of everything that you want to manage on your network. So now you know what's there.
So the other thing that I remember you telling me about too, that also helps, if there are devices or LANs or segments that do not have those devices, you can exclude those from some of that discovery as well. So that's part of this pre-staging as well, right?
Yes, and basically setting up the discovery jobs for only the LANs that you really want and which only hold the things that you want to discover.
Yeah, very good. Okay, so now that we have a list of the known things, the assets that we need to patch, the next major problem is, look, how do we help organizations balance that security with the stability of patching in that difficult line to walk?
We all know that the second Tuesday of every month is when Microsoft releases all their patches, and they do testing of patches, but inevitably something ends up happening and a patch could be bad. So we do a delay of rolling out an approval of patches. So the second Tuesday of the month, Microsoft releases, and then we wait and we watch and we make sure that nobody says, hey, this patch broke this. And then we go and approve patches. So I've got an example here of where our approvals are. You can see that we have a delay on some things with third-party auto approvals, so that third-party patches, in case there's something, we don't delay other things like zero-day exploits, definition updates for Defender. We don't delay those. And then once we have all those approved, we schedule the patches to install. And we have different schedules for servers and workstations because we should treat them differently. Servers, you don't want to continually patch every night because that's going to disrupt in production. Yeah. So servers, we say we're going to patch once a week. In this case, I have an example of a schedule where we're patching on a Saturday. And we do detection and pre-download of patches to avoid bandwidth issues. And then we schedule those patches for the evening, in this case at 1:30 at night. Workstations, we do those on a daily basis, and they are always on, we always run that at night, so never disrupting production during the day and users. As long as the machines are on for workstations, they're going to get their patches.
Good. Okay, so that allows us then to automatically deploy, after approval, automatically deploy And then you can exception manage the machines that don't get patches, because we all know, if you've spent any time in this world, that just because you schedule patches to happen, not every machine is going to get it for various reasons, whether it be a server or workstation. So how then do we help organizations achieve high degree of patching efficacy and or patching compliance with as little effort as possible?
Well, one of the ways is repetition. So because we set the patching windows that we have for workstations every day and servers once a week, the patches will only install once they're approved, and that first time it'll just install. But we have the reoccurring jobs to do the patches for the things that are missed. So we're consecutive days for workstations, we're saying every night check just in case. Then the week after they're approved and start to go, we have an aggressive window which pushes patches during the day and then prompts people
on workstations.
On workstations. Servers, we don't do that during the day, but on workstations we push those patches during the day, and then when the patches are done, as you can see in this example, we have a prompt that tells the user, hey, we've got some patches that need to install, so let's reboot.
And this option that Jeff just talked about is really for someone like myself who always takes, I always take my laptop home, and I typically am not working when you have those maintenance windows, so my laptop's off. And so I'm one of those people, and you probably have those in your organization that this applies to. So, all right, Jeff, so that's good, but then what if the aggressive patching doesn't work? What happens then?
So after that, we have a monitor that's put in place that is going to look at all the aspects of patching. I have this up as an example. We have an active issue screen where we filter for that one monitor called Patch Status V2. And that monitor tells us were there any high priority, medium priority patches that were missed. It'll tell you whether a reboot didn't happen, whether the native Windows Update agent isn't working, because sometimes that breaks. And then enables Patch Management Engine, which is running everything. If that seems to have a problem, this monitor will tell us. And we have scripts that we can run that will fix that. So if it needs a reboot, we have a script that'll say schedule that reboot at night. If it's a Windows Update agent issue, we run some scripts to fix the Windows Update, which then will reboot in the evening outside of that production hours.
That's awesome. So, I mean, ultimately what we're trying to accomplish is, like I said at the beginning, with as little effort as possible, how can we automate as much of these things? How can we exception manage so that if you end up having to get to the point of manual effort, it's as few machines as possible by the end of the month or the end of the period. So, all right, we hope you enjoyed this Mitek Co-Managed IT episode on solving key issues related to effective Microsoft patching. If you enjoyed this session, please give it a like, subscribe to our channel for future Mitek content. And by the way, feel free to check out mitek.com for more resources on Microsoft 365, cybersecurity, digital productivity, strategic planning, and everything else we do to make IT easy for our clients. Thanks again for watching. We hope to see you again soon. Until then, be productive and stay secure.